I'm working in Acri in France. So first, thank you very much for all the presentation. I think it's very clear for me, except one point. This is why I have a question. Okay, we will propose to you to do a procurement. Hopefully, we will do this procurement. Everybody is happy at the end of phase 3. And so what? The question is, after phase 3, what will occur? In the sense that I've been astonished not to see any consideration of market or business approach or whatever in the evaluation. It might happen that at the end of the process, the public entities that you call the buyers are very happy with the service, but are absolutely not willing to pay anything to pursue this service, or the type of business which is proposed by the company is not the right one to pursue this procurement. So at the end, we have a technical solution, but we don't have any business solution. So I think it would make sense to have in the proposal approach, in the tender, to have also some description of what the companies intend to put in place at the end of the procurement. And this has to be discussed as well with the buyers during the evaluation phase and probably before, just to avoid a clash at the end, saying, okay, your solution is very good, but your business approach is very bad, so I go to another procurement. And this would be really a pain for a small company investing in a solution and not continuing the story afterwards. So, and I don't know who to ask the question in this board, sorry.
Okay, I can reply myself. Many thanks for this recommendation. It's very useful for us. Just for you to give more details about the instrument, the PCP actually focuses on the research and development. And this stops till the end of PCP phase 3. After the end of the PCP phase 3, it's the so-called PPI, or the commercialization of the services under some other conditions. This could be national procurements, this could be Horizon 2020 funds through structural funds supported these initiatives. But of course, at the end of the PCP phase 3, we need to have at least technical solutions that have been first verified on the field and second validated under real use case scenarios. There were some slides where Sandra, if I'm not mistaken, presented that within the delivery of the products from the industry, we will also request a set of commercial and business plan to be submitted, and also this is a part of their offer that they need to include in order to be selected for the second and the third phase. So a draft of these plans will be started at very early basis, and then we will continue till the end of the PCP. I hope that I have clarified your question.
Hello, my name is Tiago Sepúlveda from the company Edisoft. So my concern is somewhat related with the before speaker, which is really, even during the project, what will be the role of the buyers as potential users of these services? I think that the presentation from Guardia Civil was very interesting because it touched a little bit this issue by mentioning the need to have planning tools, to have tools that can also help the end users since they will be the operators, let's say, or the people on the field. So my question is, even during development, what will be the role? They will be technically engaged, they will not be technically engaged. I understand that on each phase there is also a sort of competition going, because some some suppliers will not go to the subsequent phases. So I would like to hear how this will work. Okay.
Okay. I will reply from the coordination point of view, and then Beatriz can take the the floor. The process would be twofold. Of course, we are not giving money to the companies to develop something that does not meet the needs of the buyers and is not continuously checked and having interaction with the development part. So during the development phase, it is foreseen that we will have a constant communication channel with all the contractors through a committee that will be developed in the context of technically evaluating the results of each contractor. And this committee could be composed of experts from the consortium members or experts outside the consortium. So it is a matter between us to decide which is the composition of this committee. And of course, I agree that apart from the user perspective, which is a very important actually from the buyers group, since they need to have solutions that they will make use of them at the end of the day, to have also some highly technical experts in the Earth observation domain, which can cover both thematic areas in order to proceed with the verification and validation assessment during the whole period of the project. For that reason, we have on board, apart from the buyers group, which is the heart of the project, we have the technical advisors, we have the European Satellite Center, we have the National Observatory of Athens, who jointly support this technical verification and validation process, apart from also including external experts, which is again an option that will follow.
Okay, as end users, we want to monitor the complete process. And I think we are going to be really involved in the last phase because we have to work together with you in deployment and scenarios and training for operators and everything. But at the end of each phase, for example, design, we are going to review the proposal in order to understand that key points for us, as we said, interfaces and functionalities that we consider really important, or performances that can be proved in some way because you have a little design, but we can see results. This is our point in design. Later on in prototypes, I think we are going we want to go to your test and to follow which parts are more evolved than others. If you consider that it is important for you that we see something, we are really happy to see it. And okay, at the end, we are going to evaluate the results of prototyping. Yeah, and then we are going to be involved in anything related to scenarios, test data set that you are going to use to be sure that our daily working fits your approach, you know? I don't know if it's up to you.
Good evening, Johnny from Circo. So I have two questions. The first one concerning the exclusion criteria you mentioned. We would recommend to be advised as soon as possible or a bit before the ITT on the guidelines for the exclusivity for bidding. And the second question is for the consortium and most particularly for NOAA. You mentioned the quite a couple of times to not reinventing the wheel, and this is extremely appreciated. So I'm wondering what is the level of integration expected for using any existing or upcoming services, and most particularly the DIAS, and if any, for instance, should we expect requirements for integrating the DIAS interfaces or becoming a DIAS third-party service? Thank you.
Okay, many thanks for your question. I will play the first part, which is about the exclusion criteria. These are criteria that have not been defined yet, as you have understood. We are looking forward to receiving comments from you, if you would like to include some thoughts in the RFI survey. So in general, I have not something to say in more details on that. You have some?
Yes. Okay. No, not some. Just to clarify a bit, because this has been part of my presentation, and I effectively I didn't identify what kind of specific exclusion criteria could appear in the tender request for tender. But I can give you an example of one of them. For instance, the conflict of interest. You must show you have no conflict of interest regarding this procedure. So, and regarding the guidelines you said, it will be put it in on this, the evidence, what are the evidence that we want from you to check these criteria. This can be, for instance, a declaration of honor that you have no conflict of interest. Of course, there is much more exclusion criteria. We don't define this yet. As Alki said, we also would like to receive your contribute regarding this, but there are some standard exclusion criteria used in procedures like this, in the competition way. So, but this is what I can tell you more regarding this.
Okay, it is an innovation action as well. So we need to, apart from some examples that Sandra gave to you, we need to ensure that the contractors will have the full competencies to fulfill their obligation. So somehow we will request similar projects to have been implemented or to prove their active presence in the areas of interest.
Okay, with regard to the not reinventing with the wheel and the expected DIAS is to come, and I'm sure that we are aware about that. I'm sure that you are among the bidders on the DIAS platform. What we are posing here is that when the proposal preparation from your end will begin at the beginning of next year, I think that you will be more aware about what DIAS will provide. Already the specifications of the DIAS is already available, so you have a hint what to be expected and what things and functionalities can be used from there. But still, if you believe that building something upon DIAS, it is something too risky, you can propose another solution. That's the way forward, I think. So we are foreseeing not to use as much as possible the services as I discussed previously from CMEMS, the marine services. So this is the logic behind to build upon and leverage on existing services that you, as the industry, can leverage and provide this service to the end user. So it is upon you. We are providing the directions to be followed. So it is upon your proposal to see how and if you can use them. Okay, so.
Hi everyone, I'm Bruno from Azores, Government of Azores. I'd like to introduce here a subject. We have some needs in tuna schools detection, and we'd like to introduce here to all the stakeholders that are present on the ground, and share these needs that we have and the possibility that the project, the PPC have to perhaps create a service to this subject. Thank you.
Actually, you are mentioning about I don't know whether you are mentioning about the fisheries, the pelagic fisheries, or the fish farms of tunnels, both, or the pelagic fishery. So this is, as we said, an optional service because during the preparation of all these steps, we end up with these four services, and as you can see on the website, there is another optional that the industry can provide the solution to, for example, to the Azores, because it is of great importance for you. This, of course, will be a plus when we will evaluate the tender specific the tenders that the industry will submit, and so I think that all this information will be included into the tender specification, and it will be clear to all the participants.
Of course, we have to. Of course, we have to keep a balance between the budget available and the services that will go at the end of the day to be procured. So, as Anesis have said, this is an optional feature that has been included till so far in the user requirements, and it's up to the industry if they are willing or they have the capability, the technical and the financial capability to include this service as an additional option to their developments.
I'm Themistocles Chryssoulos from Artemis Survey. I will make a more specific question in a thematic category. Coastal zone monitoring events and change detection are included to the environmental issue of Marineo. Coastal monitoring and zone detection or events are included in the maritime environment because it's in the edge.
We consider coast part of the environment. Indeed, one of the services is focused on embarking issues, events that, as you say, then coast and harbors are part of Marineo. In the environmental.
Actually, we will have, we already defined some specific areas of interest for each service. So it is clear enough for you which areas are included. So for example, there are some coastal areas, some gulfs that will have to be monitored and will be validated. The service that the industry will provide will validate the scenarios that we just defined. Okay, so this is.
Any other question? Yes, please. Fabio.
I have some questions. When we compete for a lot...
From where we are coming? Sorry, your name and your organization?
Sorry. Excuse me. I'm Ana Mendoza for Hydrographic Institute. we compete for one lot, we must to answer to all the issues of this lot. I'm thinking about Satoshi. We have 4 teams, and the last one, the Arctic one, these objectives are different, are significant different of the other 3. If you respond to the other 3, you must respond to the Arctic issues too. And another question is the areas we focus on we must to focus on the 3 Mediterranean, Atlantic, and the Arctic, or we can answer for one. Only Atlantic or only Mediterranean, for example.
Okay, thank you for this question. In order to be clarified for all, the initial idea is to develop services that will cover the 3 areas, the 3 basins in parallel with within each lot. I understand the challenge and the difficulty that you have envisaged concerning developing Arctic services. This includes the algorithmic part, which is the technical implementation that change detection and vessel detection or iceberg detection are already in place somehow. So it's a matter to enhance these detection techniques, and this is not so much related to the area, I would say, because the techniques are applied everywhere. But in that case, if you consider that you need an expertise that you do not have in your own institutes to cover this area, there is also a possibility of partnership, to make a partnership with an institute, with a university, with an industry from the north that could potentially cover this service that is not under your expertise or competencies.
Hello. Yes. Hello. My name is Antidio from CATEC.
Excuse me. We have a.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, if you saw how this is structured, there are going to be 4 proposals that are going to be admitted initially, then shrink to 3, then to 2. Okay, so if you have X number of services, so you want to make sure that these services will be covered by the 2 winners at the end of the day. So you understand, now you start understanding how you need to form your response. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Santiago from CATEC. My question is about the different phases. Do you have an estimation of the budget division for the different phases?
Can you please repeat the question?
If you have an estimation how you are going to divide the budget between the different phases.
Okay. There is an estimation, but it's not confirmed, so it's not something that we can say that is fixed right now. It's only an estimation that I could share with you. Of course, the PCP phase 1, due to its short duration and the solution design part, will not require a big amount of money to be spent there. So we foresee approximately 50,000 euro per contractor per PCP phase, per thematic area. And then To the second stage, which is the development and verification, it will be around 200,000 euro per consortium or contractor, and the PCP phase 3 will be around 400,000 euro. But again, these are very gross indications. We need to go into detail. Of course, each contractor could submit to both lots, not only to one. There will not be any exclusion criteria about that. Thank you.
My name is Ugo Di Gianmatteo from ACS, Italy. I have a very technical question on the financial side. I mean, I saw that you mentioned VAT applicable on 23%, if I remember correctly. This is strange, in my opinion, because when it comes to, let's say, international contracts, for example, ESA or EUMETSAT, EMSA, normally it is VAT excluded. So it is quite strange to interpret this, how to handle practically this VAT on the Portuguese side. So do you have an idea on how to manage this VAT between different countries?
Yes. Regarding the Horizon 2020 rules, there are two options that in the consortium the buyers groups can opt. One of them is to give the leader procurer the head of the consortium, and the contract will be only with the leader procurer. The invoices will only received and paid by the leader procurer, and he applies the VAT that is practicable in the leader procurer, in this case in Portugal. There is another option, then can be a rate between the consortium regarding its weights and the pro rata, you see. So when we could split the amounts for paying by one of the buyer, another, but we suppose this is a more complex during the implementation and during the financial management of this process. So we opt for the first solution, that is the leader procurer will assume the contract, the payments, and must apply its national rules regarding the financial. Did I answer your question?
Other questions, please? No? Just in that case, I would like to ensure once more time that your feedback, and especially your feedback in the technical perspective, as you can imagine, the consortium is more formulated from buyers group, so we cover mainly the user needs perspective. It is very welcomed. Regarding also, as Kostas has highlighted in his presentation, during the RFI questionnaire, which has some tailored questions to the data requirements, to the feasibility of developing solutions, taking into account potential constraints in terms of timing, of acquisition, of coverages, etc. These are most welcomed to be received from you during completing this questionnaire in order to fine-tune potentially some specifications of the services. If you consider that one feature might not be feasible at all to be developed according to your expertise, according to your services that you have in place, we need to know right now. And the process is to include, to retrieve your feedback, to create recommendations. There is a deliverable in our project that we are write down the feedback retrieved from your side in order to take these recommendations into account for preparing the tender specifications, which will be drafted till the end of September. And as you have seen from the tentative deadline, the contract notice will be launched by the beginning of the next year. So this is a kind request for all of you to go through the RFI and complete it if possible during not later than the end of this month, the end of July. Since you have all this picture in front of you right now, it's very easy, I think, to go through the questionnaire a couple of days after the industry day in order to reply to this questionnaire and have an active involvement in the preparation of the tender. Yes? Fabio? One question, please. Fabio.
I see that the budget is a little short. You don't how can you say? You don't preview server campaigns to additional data. Are the basis of this service, are the data already available with the MEM service and ESA, or you preview additional in situ campaigns to in situ data?
Yes, this is a critical point, actually. All the data, all the satellite data will be freely available from ESA and from Copernicus, including also some arrangements and licenses that will be signed with the data warehouse. So any contributing mission needed to implement additional to Sentinels, needed to implement the services will be provided free of charge by ESA. Within the context, of course, of the project and not making use of this data outside the project. This is the first part. The second part is if some data have not been included in your submission, in your application, and are not considered from the ESA and from our point of view through the completion of this RFI, that's why I insist once more time for retrieving this feedback directly from you concerning the data that you foresee very important for implementing the services in order to proceed ourselves with this kind of arrangement with the data warehouse. So this is very, very important. This is the second point. And the third point is in case some data have not been considered and are not included into the list of the data through which we will get access through the data warehouse, it is up to the contractor to cover this gap if this is not foreseen at the beginning of his application. Of course, in situ data, again, are very important and very useful and actually are requested to be used for validating the services. And again, this is again up to the contractor to check this kind of the availability of this kind of data from themselves or checking availability from data that the contracting authorities could cover and could provide through the tendering procedure. Yes, one question more.
Chris Lemons from Offshore Navigation Limited. So maybe in relation to
From where? Sorry, from?
Offshore Navigation Limited. In the same trend as the question before, the money that's available, so it has to be divided over 3 phases and for several awarded contracts, because, or is each budget available per contract? I don't know if that question makes sense.
I'm not sure if I understood very well your question. Actually, the budget is per contractor. So each contractor will receive its budget in order to go ahead and develop the prototype and the full part of their services. So it is a 100% subcontracting cost. It's like a simple procurement. And the contractor who will be awarded will get the money from the first PCP phase, and then if he succeeded in continuing to the second phase, he will take another amount in order to cover this additional work that you have to make, and then at the end, the full amount, the full budget for implementing the services under operational conditions.
Okay, yeah, that kind of answers the question.
I'm not right now in a position to share with you amounts of pre-financing, etc. This is something that will be announced in the contract notice.
Yeah. And then maybe another question, are there any provisions around ownership of the technical solution that's being developed then? I assume it stays with the companies, but you never know.
Yes, as Sandra have said in her presentation, we are following the PCP rules on this respect. The ownership of the results of the services belong to the industry. So all the IPR rights remain to the contractors. And the contractors give free royalty access licenses to the public procurers in order to make use of these services.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I would just like give you, because all these 3 questions was regarding the lower price or what could be the budget per contractor per phase. But I suppose you must bearing in mind the following. In this side are buyers that were identifying some needs that the answer is not available in the market yet. In your side, you are being financing to develop an innovation solution to give this answer. And this can be seen as a potential business for the future, because this is a buyers group, but this represents many national, international authorities regarding these issues. And even regard this question, the IPR, and because the contractors remain its IPR, this is excluded from the usual procurement requirements, because this is to incentive the industry to give a response to a need, but you keep with your IPR. So, as I said in my presentation, in return, the tender price must contain a financial compensation. So, this must be sought. This is not a pure and a usual procurement for you provide me a services. This is more behind that, more for us because we have a need that is not complied yet, and more for you because this can be an opportunity you develop a business in the future regarding these issues. It's just to give you some feedback regarding, and don't be focused only in the what will be the budget per contract, per phase. Okay, you can see this also as an investment for your site. I don't know. It's just a suggestion.